Well, hello, everyone. Good morning for those of you on the West Coast, and good afternoon for those of you on the East Coast and anything in between. Welcome, welcome to day 2 of our Ivy League Secrets Challenge. Very excited to have you here. And we're going to dive in today, but I want you to sort of just relax. I want you, wherever you are, kind of just like close the door, get settled in, grab your beverage of choice. Today, for me, it's water. Because it's pretty early and I already had my protein shake. So grab what you need, and we're going to dive right in. Okay, those of you who were here last night, you know that it's like drinking water from a fire hose. So that's the way we roll. All right, here we go. Okay. All righty. Well, you've made it. And I'm going to just turn yeah, I don't want to be distracted. All right, so you've made it here, and really it's all about how to get your child admitted to the most competitive colleges, no matter the odds or the obstacles, okay? How many of you, like, just type into the chat the number 1 and like, that sounds like a pretty good plan to me. Please help me get my child admitted to the best colleges possible for him or for her, right? I mean, who doesn't want that? All right, talk to me. Just type a number 1 in the chat if you're like, I'm with you. I'm with you, Dr. C. There you go. I see them coming in. Okay, awesome. Today is about you. I mean, most of you are the parent, some of you are the student, bravo to you, but it's really about earning your superpowers. You want to listen, you want to learn, but ultimately it doesn't matter what I tell you if you don't take action. You have to decide right now that you're here to help become a dream builder for yourself or for your child. Okay, so listen, learn, and you're going to end up at the end taking action. It will feel like you're drinking water from a fire hose. There is a lot of information, which is why we've broken it up into 3 parts. We've tried this a number of times, trying to squeeze it all in into 60 or 75 minutes. And if you were here last night, you know that I just barely touched the surface of all that you need to know and understand. So no worries, keep calm, because I know the countdown is on. Most of you here, I already saw you have rising seniors. And that means it's literally just around the corner. And it feels heavy, it feels overwhelming. You might be feeling anxious. So if that is you as the parent, I want to tell you, even if it doesn't show on your child's face or they say they're not nervous, they're lying, okay? They have all the feels right now and they're not quite sure what to do with that. As a rule, I've used the term dream college a lot. And I want you to know that whatever the dream college is for your child, that is your fill in the blank. It doesn't have to mean Ivy League. It doesn't even have to mean top 100 colleges. It just means that you're here to soak in all of the tips and strategies that I'm offering because they're applicable no matter where you are applying. Unless the college admits 100% of their applicant pool, most colleges are going to be selective to some degree. So whatever your dream college, that is what I mean. Okay, so in session 1, I brought up this young woman. Her name is Caitlin. She's from Texas. The Wall Street Journal ran an article about her a few years ago. I think it's called Texas Rock Star Rejected 9 Times or something like that. Good, great is not enough, something like that. You can probably Google it. But the whole intention for me to bring up that story is to tell you this. Most parents are like me, Gen X. We rolled out of bed, took the SAT or ACT one time, applied to a handful of colleges, and got into where we wanted to get into. Okay, period, end of story. We moved on. Nobody I knew had a private coach. Nobody was like doing like crazy SAT tutoring. None of that was happening when we applied. So am I right? If I can get a number one in the chat for like, or an amen, like you're like, yes, that was me. And so what's happened is that same strategy that we used many years ago, like 30 years ago, doesn't work. And so if you are a parent who is thinking, or maybe you already had a child who went through the process and you're like, oh my gosh, this is not what I remember. But most high school counselors are still using the old method. And this is a perfect example that just 3 years ago, why a counselor didn't intervene and give her different advice is really beyond me. So what worked before doesn't work anymore. So let me tell you what that means and what that looks like now. So, and the reason just to draw home the point, like this wasn't working since I was working in admissions, right? Like, and helping students. So I can tell you that it's been a bit. The system that we worked with Vassar when I was at Vassar is from late fall to early winter, we would read applications. And in that time, we were taking notes on each application. And during that period at Vassar, on our notes page, at the very tippy top of the page was a blank line. And it was reserved only if the applicant was the student body president. You may want to write this down. Student body president, editor-in-chief of the newspaper or yearbook, a Girl Scout Gold Award or Eagle Scout, team captain of a major sport, or like, curing cancer, or like junior Olympian, or some state or national champion, okay? That line remained blank most days that I read. It's a very small number. It's something like 12 to 15% of students who are graduating from high school would even meet that criteria, okay? So we would write that. Now, my story about Mr. Vargas helping me with admission advice when my mom drove me north on the 110 freeway in our brown Oldsmobile, Mr. Vargas honed in on the fact that I was the student body president, and he encouraged me actually to write about that or highlight that in my application. So when I worked for Vassar, it didn't seem, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like so right. Like that was the right thing to do. So in my book, I do highlight some of those chapters that have stories like that, where the student body president or something like that. Okay, so that all being said, today is really also about that is still working to some degree, but not really at top 50, top 25, and top 10 colleges. That's not enough anymore. So don't worry, we're gonna walk you through that today. All right, are you with me so far? That was just like 2-3 minutes packed full of information. Just give me a number one in the chat if like, okay, I'm still following you, I'm not lost yet. All right, I just want to kind of see. Stephanie, you can kind of tell me.
Yeah, we got ones going on over here.
Okay, good. All right. Ooh, good. I was like, okay, how am I going to break it down for them? Okay. So I think we know, but basically you are in the right place right now if you have a child, or you yourself are going to be applying to college somewhere in the next 4, 5, 6 months, or in the next 1.5 to 2 years, right? You're in high school, you are college bound. So I think we saw most of you have a rising senior, but for those of you who are here, who are class of 26, 27, 28, I even saw some 30s. Oh my goodness, you're definitely in the right place, because the earlier you know this, the better, right? Okay, so you might have felt, you, the parent, you, the student, might have felt imposter syndrome at some point. I mean, I actually have always had big dreams for when I grew up. I was like, I'm going to go to college, and not a lot of people in my neighborhood always went to 4-year college. I'm going to go to USC. So whatever your dream college is, that's you. But there are occasionally times where students will have this sort of imposter syndrome, or as a parent, you're thinking, I don't want to share with my neighbor like where my kid is thinking about applying to, because it seems is so impossible, right? If your kid is dreaming of the Ivy League or like a Northwestern or, Stanford, Duke, any of those, you might think, that's just for the privileged or the well-resourced. Like it's not really set up for the everyday family to succeed. And actually that's partially true, which is why you're here. So if you've ever felt any of these things, you are not alone. And we're on a mission to close the information gap so that we can close the education gap and help give you a seat at the table. Hey, how about an amen for that? Okay, my basic goal is to get you to believe that the only way for you to exponentially increase your child's chances of getting admitted to their dream colleges is to stop repeating the system that worked 30 years ago, because it doesn't work anymore, and stop thinking that repeating those same actions is going to yield different results. It's not. It's not going to yield different results. You have neighbors, you have friends. Everyone here probably knows at least 2 people who've recently experienced not great news in the college admission process. So the only way to gain success is by leveraging our 3-step success formula. Today, we're in step 2. First step yesterday was understanding that admissions is a business and how to wrap your brain around the academics that you need to get started. Okay, so just so we're clear, I've been on a mission to crack this code for a long time, even more than 17 years, but it took me 17 years before my first book came out. But I had met with hundreds of students, hundreds of parents, visited hundreds of colleges, interviewed 100 plus college experts, and 20 years of essay camps and workshops. So I've distilled all of that really for you in my book, and then Dream College Academy, and all kinds of things that you'll learn about today if you didn't learn about them. Because you don't have 17 years to figure this out. Most of you don't even have 17 months to crack this code. So that's why you're here. Today, we're on step 2, the storytelling advantage secret. This is my favorite because it is the most tangible and the one that you have, wherever you are in your journey, however close you are to applying or late you are, you actually still have the most control here, right? Because those academic grades, if you're a rising senior and you're about to apply, that's done. You cannot change that. That is over. So we're going to break this down into 3 steps today, or 3 secrets, so to speak. And we're going to a little bit reverse engineer this. We're going to actually begin by talking about the essays, so that we know what the end goal is, and then we'll go on to, I know you're all here for the leadership hierarchy, so we will get to that in step 2. Okay. All right. Breathe, everyone. Get your paper and pen, if you're old school like me, or you can take notes on your phone, but make sure you have, again, your water or whatever, tea, coffee, whatever you're drinking. Okay. So again, I've already claimed that I'm a Gen Xer. I applied about, oh gosh, it's going to be over 30 years now to college. And so the old way was to, basically a week before that was due, we'd write the essay, submit it, and, be done. If we were lucky, or if we knew enough to, or had a relationship with the teacher, we might ask somebody to read it over like once. I think I did that. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I did, but I can't be too sure. So that way doesn't work, because here's what happened. In the late 90s and 2000s, these shows were out. I mean, hello, I grew up on these shows, and made New York City very, very popular. So 2 things were happening. So Felicity, as you see here, she was in school at NYU. And so NYU was becoming super popular. Everybody wanted to go to New York. Applications were flooding in. Also, the millennials were taking over. And it's a much higher population, those millennials, than the Gen Xers. So applications began to grow exponentially. And just one more point on that, like they were growing exponentially. And so the admit rate, as I talked about yesterday, was going down for a lot of these schools that became more and more popular, which when your admit rate goes down, it usually means that your ranking in US News and World Report is going to go up. So that was always like, it was started to become a game, if you will. Well, because everything was starting to be so competitive, starting in about the early 2000s, I was working as the director of college counseling at Marymount High School. That's a private elite school in Los Angeles. Okay. And so we thought we really need to give the due respect and focus and clarity and time on these essays. But the girls didn't have that kind of time during the fall of senior year, right? You see here, like what fall of senior year looks like is like, I'm going to class, I'm doing all the homework, which I have all the APs, I've got to go to homecoming, I've got to go to pep rallies and football games, and you want to live life. And so in the fall, that was the problem. Two things were a problem. One, they didn't have the time. And the second problem is that most students, even students at a private elite school, don't understand that the college admission essay is not an English paper. That is one of the biggest mistakes that students make in writing it. And I mean, hey, there's no judgment on that, because like nobody teaches you what they're looking for and what to do, right? So of course you're going to write a topic sentence like, and that's not what they're looking for. Okay. A little bit later today, you're going to meet you're going to meet Juliana's mom today. You're going to meet Alexis, and you're going to meet Curtis today. So stick around. They're from New York, from California, and DC. Okay. Okay. So the new way. So let's talk. So you just heard me talk about what doesn't work, right? But the truth is, essays are serious business, and you can have a lot of control. You have every bit of control in what you submit in your application through your essays. You don't have control anymore over your grades because that's done. But you get 6 semesters to make that happen, and then now what's left in the application is to submit your pieces of writing. So you want this result. Woohoo, yay. You want to feel confident. You want to feel like you're doing the right thing when it comes to the essays. I get it. So I'm going to just tell you this. You want to write this down. In the way that we teach essays, we believe that there are 4 types of questions that every student needs to navigate this process. Okay. You need a who am I essay, a what am I good at, what's something cool about me, and why this major, or some kind of academic essay. But the essays cannot be written days before they're due. With 150,000 applicants for UCLA, and 5 of the UCs with over 100,000, and admit rates under 30%, under 20%, and under 10%, that's never going to be the way you stand out. 1 to 2 drafts is not going to increase your chances. So we started the essay bootcamp at Marymount back in the early mid 2000s. We were among the first to start something like that, and we started seeing better results with these students. So the method that we use is a 4-step method in our 5-day workshops, but it's also available online and on demand. But every one of these students that I'm showing you use that exact method, whether they were a private client with me, or just took essay camp, or were part of the Dream College Academy. Whatever level they were in our programs, they all use the same formula. They are not superhuman. They are ordinary students who were willing to do extraordinary steps to make their dreams come true, and just simply follow a formula. So now understand that this is for everyone. I've said, before, but I'll say again, like you might be thinking, oh, this is just for students, at the school that you worked at, this private girls' school. No, I said I've tested this many times. I've used this exact formula for the writing formula with over 10,000 students over the last like 20 plus years. It works. It's always an aha moment, and they feel really great. And to drive home the point, we use this method. We're in our 4th year with our partnership with Linwood Unified. As I mentioned yesterday, they are 85 to 95% free and reduced lunch, right? They are underserved population. These 2 students stayed the course. They were among our first cohort. And basically, I will say this for Jacqueline. I mean, like what we were able to get out of her, and she's someone I mentioned in my TED Talk, if you haven't watched it. But basically she said, I don't know, I'm not involved in anything. What am I going to write about? And I asked her, well, what do you do? What do you do? And we kept probing. And she said, well, I said, well, what do you do after school? She said, well, I go home, I get something to eat, I do a little bit of homework, and then I go to work with my mom to help her clean banks. I was like, what? So basically from like 6 to 10 or 11 at night or 5 to whatever, she was helping her mom clean banks. And I said, that is what you're going to write about. She wouldn't have thought that on her own. I mean, one hopes she would have, but I'm not so sure, right? And then Celeste, she had missed a session and the district office called her phone and said, what are you doing? She said, I had debate or practice or something. And the district office person said, nothing else matters right now than getting into college. Get your butt to essay camp. And so she did, and she's now at Stanford. Here are a couple others. You'll meet Malik in session 3. And yeah, so they're just, these are, I just love them. These 2 are both at UVA. They both chose UVA, but I don't know if they were the same year. I don't know. I can't remember now. No, they're not the same year. Okay, let's keep going. So understand that the only job of the essay is to help your child stand out among an already equally qualified applicant pool. Let me say that one more time. Wherever your child is applying, 60 to 80% of the applicant pool are all equally qualified. Most colleges that are the top 100 colleges, I'm saying most because I can't be sure it's a fact, but I'm going to guess it's pretty much yes. All of them could throw out all of the applications they just admitted and admit a whole nother class equally qualified. Okay. So this is the only role of the essay, is to help you stand out from an equally qualified pool. All right. Am I getting to you? Is it penetrating? Are you listening? Are you learning? Are you ready to take action? Okay, I'm asking. Give me a heck yes, a 1, give me something. I want some feedback here because these are serious bomb droppings right now. This is no joke. All right, good. I'm seeing a few of you with me. Okay. All right. So now we have to know that in order to have even essays to write that are interesting, we have to become interesting applicants, right? Interested students become interesting applicants. So we have to figure out, what does that look like? Well, I'm going to tell you. So we've been, as I said, we've been working now, for over 20 years with students across the country, and they all have this same question. When I worked at Vassar, I would, speak to a big group, and then the one thing that's parents and students would ask me was like, how many hours of service do I need to do? And I think that parents and students think that if they are, community service and altruistic and have a good heart, and they talk about that will be like the magic bullet that gets them in. And the truth is, we cannot admit a whole class of do-gooders. We need leaders, we need athletes, we need English majors, we need, classics majors, we need all of the things. We need everybody to have something else they're involved in, something else they enjoy doing. So it's not just the same thing everywhere. Okay, so after my TED Talk last year, because I tried to break this down, and actually I think this is even better than how I break it down in the TED Talk, but you'll learn a lot in the TED Talk. So here are the 5 levels of leadership, all right, or co-curricular involvement. So we begin at the bottom, which is school involvement. So if you can imagine the 2.4 million or so students that will apply this year to 4-year institutions. But let me just say that again. There's about 2 million plus rising seniors that will apply to 4-year colleges, okay? All of them have level 1, or let me repeat that. Let me say that a different way. All of them should have level 1, which is just basically involved in a club, a sport, performing arts, community service, or some kind of leadership. I do something, I participate. I am a contributing member to my community. It could be school, but also could be other like church 12 as well, but it's usually school involvement. Then there's the level 2, which is school leadership. So while level 1 is about 100% of all the applicants, level 2 quickly jumps up or goes down to 12 to 15%. Remember I said this is kind of like that line, that blank line that I mentioned at the beginning. What do I mean by that? Level 2, you have to be nominated, selected, or elected to win that title, right? So student body president, editor-in-chief, team captain, or Girl Scout Gold or Eagle Scout, or being a state or national champion. Those are things that there are about 8 to 12 students for each high school that would even remotely get to that, right? So we're talking somewhere between 12 and 15% of the applicant pool would even be in level 2. But you don't have control completely over level 2. So that's why I was like, this isn't working anymore. When I started to learn about student body presidents and top level leaders not getting into their top choices, I'm like, we got to do something different. So we're going to spend most of the time talking about a coolness factor. I'll briefly tell you here, and then I've got some examples. Okay. So the coolness factor is something that you just love to do for yourself. And it might be that you have an Etsy store. It might be that you speak multiple languages. It might be that you have a part-time job, or so you are a very competitive athlete and you also play a club sport, something like that. Impact project, I'll explain, but it's most similar to like a Girl Scout Gold Award. It solves a problem for a community you're passionate about, and you put in something like 80 hours or more. And then intellectual curiosity, I'll give you examples of all of these, but it's the tippy top. And for those of you that are serious about applying to top 25 colleges, you should strive to get to level 5. So let's break it down. So here are 2 students, some of our former campers, and we've got Riley here, and Riley would fit into level 3, the coolness factor. He's got a part-time job and he's done, doing some cool things as an athletic instructor to kids. So that is, pretty cool. I think this athletic instructor, I think he's, it's like a job or something that he's just signed up for, not something he's created. Okay. That's the difference between level 3, coolness factor, and the level 4, impact project. Okay, so let's meet Lauren. So Lauren, when I met her, she was nervous because she, compared to her colleagues, her peers from the school that she comes from, she was nervous that she was not going to stand out among her peers, which was certainly something to consider. And those of you who are here in session 1, you know that the school profile is very important to figuring that out. So after she went through essay camp and she went through Dream College Academy, we learned that she had started this girls' camp the summer before her freshman year. I think she just wanted, I don't know that she ever thought this was going to be a thing, but she started this camp for the girls in her local, just in the neighborhood, just so that they would have somewhere to go. She created the curriculum, she did the marketing, she sold the product, and she had girls in that first year, and she continued to do it for 4 years. And she ran it so well, it got such a good popularity that she said, oh, Dr. C, like the last time I ran it, like it sold out in 1 day. Okay, so taking that project, 1, are you solving a problem? The problem is that the girls in her neighborhood in the summer didn't have, camps, or didn't, could use a new approach or some other camp to go to. So there was the problem. For a community she's passionate about, her neighborhood, and specifically girls' curriculum. And then the number of hours. You better believe she was putting in 80 hours or more every single summer. So an impact project is that level 4. Okay. So for someone like Lauren, who again was fearful that her grades and all the other things weren't going to help her to stand out, she is at one of the tops. She got admitted to some of the top business programs in the country. So I'm not sure if you know, but University of Wisconsin and University of Indiana, they have really top programs. She chose Wisconsin, but she was able to draw on her knowledge of sales, marketing, customer service, customer relations, all of those things she related back to business. So it was a perfect impact project for her. Okay, you might be thinking, but I'm not the student body president and I'm not charismatic and I don't want to do all the things. Well, meet Sienna, because that's exactly what she said to me. She was a private client, actually. And in the first year, when she was a sophomore going into junior year, she's like, Dr. C, I'm not going to be a team captain. There's no way I'm ever going to be like a president. What can I do? So what we did was we brainstormed and we sort of engaged with someone who helped us find different things that she would be interested in. So she was interested at the time in being a pediatrician. She loved kids. So she created the bead bag project, or she contributed to the bead bag project. The bead bag project, I think you can Google it. And excuse me 1 second. Her job, she decided that she would sew. She liked to sew, she liked to knit, and she liked to be creative. So this project, the bead bag project, was a project where she sewed bead bags where kids with cancer, every time they hit milestones, they would put in their beads in this bag. And it included like a personalized note inside the bag from Sienna. It was a perfectly sweet, simple project, nothing crazy, but solved a problem for a community she loved, and she put in certainly more than 80 hours. She decided to sew 100 bags over the course of 12 to 15 months or so. She started summer before junior year. So yeah, those of you who are younger, this is a perfect example that you have lead time to do something impactful and just, in the length of time that you have. Again, not superhuman. These are ordinary students who just took extraordinary steps. And it doesn't have to be that you're curing cancer or that you're an Olympian. It can be something simple to get you to level 4. Okay. So if you apply these new leadership hierarchy, you're going to open many more doors, and there's just so many more opportunities for you to stand out. Okay. All right. You're thinking, you didn't do number 5. Don't worry, I got you. But so far, are you with me? Type in the chat the number 1 if you've learned at least one thing so far today. Yeah? What do we see, Steph?
Lots of ones over here.
Okay. All right, good. You guys, I can't see you when I'm got my screen on, so she's got to be my eyes and ears still. All right, good. Listen, learn, decide you're taking action, decide that you are becoming the dream builder that you need for yourself, for your child. Okay, don't worry. Number 5 is coming to you right now. So how do you maximize your time in order to win the battle? Now, you're thinking, oh my word. Yes, these are my nieces. You're like, Dr. C, like my child can barely breathe. Like they're so busy. How in the world are they going to add to their plate, right? So you know that once upon a time they were just lovely youngsters and life was easy, but life is not so easy anymore. You're running them ragged. You're like their Uber, right? And so they're super busy. How is this all going to work? Yeah, I got you. I want you to meet Alexis. Alexis, who you'll hear from today, we met when she was a sophomore in high school, and she's a dancer, and there's a lot of things you'll learn about her in just a second. But she was already super busy. So her dance team at school competes nationally. She was a straight A, all the things, academic superstar. So she always had a ton of APs, a ton of homework. She was on the mock trial team, and which they were sort of regional champions as well. So there were many reasons for her to say to me, I don't have time, right? but you'll learn that her dreams from the get-go were H, Y, P, or S type of schools: Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford. Okay? So how did she reach all of that? So I just mentioned she was involved in mock trial. Okay, so like mock trial, and I'm sure she was involved in a couple other clubs, but that would be level 1. Level 2 for her was being sort of like a regional champion, or her team, her mock trial team had won sort of at like a regional level. So that would be like level 2. Okay, fine. Her level 3, and this is going to sound silly, but you'll understand in a second. Her level 3, just her coolness factor, just like something cool and different about her, would be 2 things I would put in this category for her. 1, she was a national champion dancer with her dance team, I think twice in her 4 years. So that's super cool. I mean, yes. But also something else that we put into this category for her was that she loves NFL football and particularly loves Tom Brady, and for him being the GOAT, and like lots of cool things. Again, I'll come back to it, but remind me to tell you like why that was important for a student like Alexis. All right. So her impact project, let's see. Her impact project, let's go to this next slide because I'll explain these last 2 levels. So she's a Girl Scout Gold Award, and she had to figure out what she was going to do. Okay. And so we really had to figure out how she was going to leverage her time. I'm a master of my minutes. There's not a day that goes by that I don't write out how many minutes it's going to take me to complete each task I have to do. So her plight was, how do I make this work? So she wants to major in political science. She wants to be a lawyer. So that mock trial thing was good. She wants to specifically be an immigration lawyer. She also had some service hours that she needed to do for school. So her Girl Scout Gold Award project was to create an educational podcast on immigration law, interviewing immigration lawyers on how to navigate the process of becoming a citizen. Okay, genius. It tied back to her major. It tied back to her interest. It solves a problem for a community she's passionate about. Her father is an immigrant, successful immigrant coming to America. And she definitely put in well over 80 hours. So that one gold award project fulfilled many things on her list. She was able to have an internship because that was part of the process that she used. She had put in her community service hours, which was something for school that she needed. It fulfilled her Girl Scout Gold Award. And because it was an educational podcast on something intellectually curious, something that she's intellectually curious about, it met all 5 levels, really. Okay. So she was able to get to all 5 levels by merely just really thinking through what would be a good level 4 project for her. Okay. I hope that makes sense. Again, she was not superhuman. Like she's a girl from Orange County public school with big dreams. That's it. And she was determined to figure it out. So she followed what I told her to do. And I mean, I didn't do it for her. She did it, so she's putting in the time. Extraordinary. Okay, well, I wasn't going to show you this, but here I am in the 90s. Oh, yes. No, not the 90s. I'm sorry, 80s. And so, yeah, I rolled out of bed, took the SAT one time, and applied to 5 colleges. Got into my dream school, which was fantastic. That same tactic would not work today. Okay. So here are some of our students who have done our essay camp and have find success. This is really the new way, is really being pointed and really being able to find the time and the focus to get this done and get the coaching that you need to get it done the right way. Okay. So these are some students from our Bishop Amat site, from our South Pasadena site, and from our Linwood site. Okay. So secret number 3 is really maximize your time. There's only so much bandwidth that as a student you have. And so you want to be mindful of your minutes. Okay. All right. Listen, learn, take action, and become a dream builder. All right. So I have a question for you, or my mom has a question for you. Do you think if you, A, approach this like a business, like we talked about yesterday, 2, engage with colleges, 3, find your coolness factor, and 4, create compelling application, could you see yourself as the parent or as the student increasing your chances by 25%, 50%? For some, they were able to increase their chances by 75%. Alexis had a 95% acceptance rate. I mean, yeah, she was coachable, right? She followed all the steps. All right. So what would be worth it? I want you to think of that while I introduce you to our guests here. They were live a couple weeks ago, so you're going to meet them now. But I want you to really imagine what that would look like, what that would feel like to have, an extra 25% chance, an extra 50% chance, an extra 75% chance of getting to your goal. All right, let me share with you a guest.
So I decided I was going to take my daughter Jules to start looking at colleges. We did it this summer, going into 10th grade. I think we did. I know it sounds early, but actually, what I've learned is it's really not early. We live in New York, so we started in upstate New York. We went to one college, and the second college we went to was Cornell. And she stepped out of the car and said, "Oh my God, this is it." So we still looked at lots of other colleges, but I said, "Oh my God, okay, she wants to go to Cornell." Uh-oh. So not sure how we were going to do that. How are we going to afford this? How are we going to get her in there? She's a good student, but I was lucky enough that in my studies, I did a little stint at Columbia, and my roommate at Columbia was, and I call her Cindy, not Dr. C. So Cindy and I go way back to 1990 something. So I knew Dr. C, but before she even started this whole journey for herself. And I knew that she had been an admissions officer at a college, and I knew she worked as on the other side trying to get kids into college. So I was like, wait, she has a lot of information. So I reached out to Cindy to start this process, which was super helpful. She met with Jules a few times virtually to kind of set the stage for, I know I want to be here, so how am I going to get there? So we had a couple of Zoom visits, since we're in New York and Cindy's in California. We had a couple of Zoom visits with her to set the stage in terms of classes and how we're going to get to where we want to be. And then, for me and for Jules, I think the biggest thing was this college essay boot camp. I can't talk about it enough, and not just because I'm friends with Cindy. Jules is a STEM person. She's a science and math kind of girl and is not a writer. And college essay boot camp, as much as it was a tough, hard week, it is a boot camp. She came out with, I think, about 4 essays, because now we see that all these colleges have your personal statement, but then they have all these other questions that need to be answered, which I don't think I remember doing that when we were applying to college. So the week was tough, but she got so much done, and whatever happens in that college essay boot camp and Dr. C's formula for how she pulls this out of the kids is quite remarkable, I have to say. And
okay. Those of you who are going to join us today in VIP, I will be sharing a couple of Jules' essays, Juliana, as we call her. Okay, so let's meet. Let's do actually, let's do Curtis first. Alexis talks about the coolness factor stuff, so we'll do her last.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Curtis Mouse III. I'm a rising 4th-year biology scholar at Florida A&M University. I'm originally from New York City, but I went to high school in Washington, D.C. I also went to public school. Really, I guess, before getting to where I am now, like applying to colleges, I was really nervous about setting myself apart from everybody else. Everybody has similar levels of academic achievement. We're all competing for the same spots. So I didn't know what I could do to set myself apart from everybody else. And, right before I applied, I met Dr. C. I did the College Essay Boot Camp the summer before my senior year, graduated in 2021. So that was 2020. And through that, I really learned how to use my essays to highlight my unique qualities and set myself apart. Aside from academics, I was learning Chinese at the time. I had done study abroad as well. I was interested in studying paleontology and evolutionary biology, so I had essays about that as well. I practiced martial arts, and so each of the essays that I wrote in College Essay Boot Camp was able to highlight specific characteristics that I had that made me unique. And I think because of that, I really got into a lot of the top schools that I applied to. I applied to a lot of Ivies, Harvard and Yale, and I was able to get in with money as well. And I applied to other schools that I wanted to go to, Howard, FAMU, and then ultimately, I chose to attend FAMU on a full scholarship. And I think that the College Essay Boot Camp really helped me with that.
Okay, all right. Who wants to meet Alexis for real? She's a real person.
I'm Alexis. I'm from the high school class of 2023, and I'm now Yale class of 2027. And as Dr. C mentioned, I'm actually in Spain right now studying abroad, earning Yale credit while I'm here. So it's been a really nice summer so far. But in terms of how I got to Yale, I really just did what I was passionate about in high school and really fully committed to that and did a lot in those areas. So for my major for Yale, I am a political science major, and in high school, I did a lot of law-related activities. I went to my local public high school in Orange County, California, but they did have a law academy, so I took advantage of that. And they had a good mock trial team as well, so I had a lot of exposure to the legal field within my high school. And then I also took advantage of an immigration law summer internship, as well as doing and creating an immigration law podcast for the Girl Scout Gold Award. So I really did a lot into the immigration law field to really set myself as a strong contender in that field. And then in addition to that, I think something that made me really unique is that I'm also a competitive dancer. Dance is something that I have been passionate about for a really long time, and I did it since the age of 9. So I became a national champion my junior year in high school with my high school dance team, and that was a really amazing experience. And I would say for me, what I took away from it was that you should really just do a lot in the things you're passionate about. And I think that being so involved in the legal field and also pursuing dance as well made me a really unique applicant. And I think that with Dr. C's help, I was really able to highlight that uniqueness in my application.
Okay. Awesome. We know that everybody likes to hear from our students. That's what we learned in the last time we ran this challenge. So I hope that was helpful for you. So before I move forward, I want to get your permission. I want to spend just about maybe 10 minutes, maybe less, to share with you the programs that we do have that these students that you've met have used with us. And so I want to just invite you, and I want to make sure that that's okay with you, that I spend 10 minutes to share with you ways that we might be able to partner. Is that okay? Type the number 1 in the chat if that's okay with you. Okay, great. Okay. All right. Thank you. That's great. It's great to hear because you are here ready to take action, and that is wonderful. I'm so proud of you. Okay. We want to introduce you to Dream College Academy, okay? And I'm going to walk you through what that means and what that looks like. Now, you might be wondering, we've heard a lot about this College Essay Boot Camp. We actually started with College Essay Boot Camp when I was a counselor, the head counselor at Marymount. That's where we started. But I will tell you right now that when we took our show on the road to everybody else, what we realized is that most students don't have the kind of access that Marymount students do, or students who go to a private elite independent school. We were working with the girls since they were freshmen, giving them all the clues and tips and strategies as to what to do. So by the time they reached College Essay Bootcamp the summer before senior year, they were prepared. So what Dream College Academy actually did was fill that gap. And we make sure that our students come ready to succeed in not just an essay camp, because it doesn't matter if you have great essays, if you didn't do all the work sort of before, you don't know all of the other tips before you even get to essay camp. So Dream College Academy is the only course of its kind that offers expert college guidance. Expert, should emphasize that your family deserves, all in one place. We get your child ahead of the game before they approach the starting line so that they can confidently apply to their dream colleges, okay? Some of you, the starting line is coming up soon. Some of you have a longer runway. It doesn't matter. The point is you still have time. With Dream College Academy, you'll have all the answers you've been searching for in one place. You'll have a college expert and strategist as your guide. You'll empower yourself and your child to take control. And you'll finally find your tribe of dream builders. That's my favorite part. Heck yeah. And you will no longer will you waste time searching for the right answers. You will no longer lose sleep wondering if your child is on the right track. And you will no longer worry that your child is not getting the expert advice that you know they deserve. So, fill in the blank for you, but for many families that we work with, they are not completely satisfied with what they're getting at the school. No judgment. Our counselors have a lot on their plate, and so they are generalists, not college experts. It will save you time. For many, it saves money because they use everything they have here to apply to scholarships, and it will definitely save you stress. You have to believe that it is possible and then decide to take action on that. You can do this together. I'm a big believer. I mean, I'm a Mexican, and so my big Mexican family, like, it's always better to do things together and have fun together. So I love the sort of group mindset myself. And parents, you're not supposed to have all the answers. Just like for students, you've never, gone through the college admission process, so you're not supposed to know what to do if you've never done it. And same for you, parents. You're not supposed to have all the answers. How could you? So Dream College Academy alone would be worth $7,200, just the modules alone. I'm going to walk you through these modules here in a second. So in it, like, what do you get? Like, what comes there? Well, these are all the modules that you'll see in your resource library, and it has all the ones that I knew were relevant. Again, I took everything I've learned from working on both the shipping and receiving ends of the admission cycle. I've taken everything I've learned from working with private independent schools that cost, $40,000 plus to go to. What are they doing there that I can give to everyday families? Okay, so it's got everything you need for success. You see here, even Dr. Yvonne Romero is a friend of mine. We've known each other. She worked at MIT when I was at Vassar. And even when her son went through the process, she turned and said, I need him to take Dream College Academy and College Essay Bootcamp. He was both campers. Here are some twins from New York, and Sarah loves to talk about how she was so happy to find us at the second half of junior year. She'd been looking, and she has twin boys, and so they went through Dream College Academy and then slipped right on into College Essay Bootcamp. So she really values that it took a lot of stress off of her. She's a parent. She's a mom of 2 sets of twins. Imagine that. Okay, so this is Sarah here. As they learned the ins and outs during DCA, I kept thinking to myself, we should have done DCA the second half of freshman year. So there you go. So you might be thinking like, really, does this work? And so here's a picture of me on the left here when I was at drill team at my high school. I went to Bellflower High School, if anyone knows where that is. I don't know that we were 95% free and reduced lunch, but it was probably significant, probably 50% free and reduced lunch. And this is a picture of a graduation, what graduation looks like at the school I worked at in Los Angeles, the private girls' school. So can this work for both? And my answer to you is I've seen it. I mean, you just met Alexis. I basically gave Alexis everything that we did at a place like Marymount. And I told her exactly what to do. I told her when to do it. She followed the steps and she gained access. Okay. So you can have your cake and eat it too. You can get the expert coach that most people would have to pay $40,000 plus a year to have that at their school. And so you can have your cake and eat it too. You can have me as your college guidance person, your expert, and you can be welcomed into a family of people who are just like you trying to do the same thing. Bonus number 1 is these weekly workshops. I talked about it a little bit yesterday, and we do have these weekly workshops. I have an extensive Rolodex. People tend to love. They know that we have students who are ambitious. They know that we have students that typically, not always, our students come from public, from Catholic, from different religious backgrounds. And we do have some students who are also our private students, private school students as well. So our guests know that we've got quality students. So they come and they show up. So that's the number 1 bonus is the weekly workshops. So they're open to everyone, but they'll show up as a recording that you'll have, in your membership. So with Dream College Academy, you're going to get access to 2 users, right? So 2 logins. So one for your son or daughter and one for yourself. Okay. Or if you have twins like Sarah did, you get access. Then you have access to these folks that are guests for 4 years. Remember, you get Dream College Academy comes for 48 months. We want to make sure that you're covered for all 4 years. So some of you are coming in, later on, it's fine. But those of you who have like 20, 30 or whatever, you get it for 4 years. Okay. I mean, that's high value. Here's one of our students who actually attended a private school in, I want to say Dallas or Houston. I don't want to get it wrong. And she wanted him to join in pretty early, but she knew that he had what he needed at a school later on. So Ryan joined just for Dream College Academy and got what he needed and is now at Emory. Okay. Bonus number 3 is what we like to call the secret sauce, or Stephanie, Coach Stephanie, when I said, I think I want to add to Dream SA Bootcamp, or maybe she said, I can't remember, but when I gave her the price of what I wanted to charge it, she was like, that's too low. That's too low. Like College SA Bootcamp is everything. I'm like, I know, but we believe that you should have it. So College SA Bootcamp comes inside of Dream College Academy now, meaning I'll show you what that means right now. Okay. So if you go back here, I just want to visual. I'm a visual person. I don't know about you. Here are the modules in Dream College Academy. So if you look at 5, it gives you a window into what SA Camp is. It gives you like day 1, it gives you like, maybe 2 or 3 hours of training. Well, SA Bootcamp is 5 days of essay writing. So it's not just like, oh, I drafted and then like, no, you need all of the trainings as to what to do next and then what to do next and then what to do next. So by adding the on-demand essay camp, you get basically 2 full programs for the price of 1. Okay, I'll explain. So this is the value you have. Okay, SA Camp alone has easily a $20,000 value. You get all of the tools, templates, all of the lessons that we teach live right there for you. Okay, this is Cintria, and her daughter Jonna was in our cohort 1 for Dream College Academy. And she said on day 1 of Dream College Academy, she said, I want to be POTUS. And she said, I want to be the president. And I knew then exactly what she meant. Like this girl, I was like, oh no, this girl like means, I said, you mean POTUS? As in, yes. And she said, yes. So we started on our journey and she's now at Princeton. Our students also use their essays for applying to scholarships, or they also get merit dollars from their colleges that they apply to as a added bonus, so to speak. So you can get an ROI on your investment pretty easily. So what if all you gained was just an advantage to access college admission officers, like just having access every single week and having those replays in your library? That, like, what would that mean to you, right? Just think to yourself. Okay. I mean, these are all the folks that I have access to. But what if you also learned how to build a college list and how to find your coolness factor and how to write compelling essays? Like, what would that be worth? Okay. What if your child was admitted to 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 dream colleges? Right? What would that be worth? You just heard from Curtis and Alexis, right? And then Becky's, Juliana's mom, right? So each of them had varying degrees of being admitted to their colleges, right? From I think it was maybe 1 or 2 for Jules, several for Curtis, and I think even more for Alexis. I want you to just imagine that. Okay. So you can continue to do this on your own, or we can do this together forever. And there's Jonna. What would this face be worth for you? Okay, so just as a reminder, this is all that you're getting, comes all together. It's one package, and here's the price. Dream College Academy, which also includes the College Essay Bootcamp on-demand portion, is 48 months for 2 users at $19.97. Okay, you guys, this literally, this might be the last time this is this low, because I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like that, I'm not sure, like that's a lot, that you're getting a lot of value. And I'm not just saying that because I'm actually thinking that as we're going through. Alone, just having the access to our guests is probably worth it. Okay. I'm going to have Stephanie share with you in just a minute how you can get a discount code by just being on this challenge call. You're going to get something special that she's cooked up for you. We do have the options of adding on. Your 3 add-on options are 1, the College Essay Bootcamp live version. And so we have a number of camps that we still have. July 22nd, July 29th, August 5th are the next 3 coming up. I think we have another one. I'm going to forget the date. So this is this opting into the silver program. We do have an even better, even a bigger upgrade for the gold, but this is the basic. And then we have the personalized action plan upgrade, and then by appointment and application only. If you're looking for private, we'll give you the link today to make an appointment. Okay, so what are the advantages of a live instruction of bootcamp? Would be, you've heard from our students, having a personal coach, getting personalized feedback, following all the steps, and then leaving confidently with 3 to 5 essays done at the end. What is the advantage for personalized action plan? For those of you who are younger and have a longer runway, this is one of the things that we really recommend, because it ties into everything you're going to need to learn in Dream College Academy, but it is a really specific plan for you that you can follow. So you can add that on and then join us later for essay camp when the time comes. Okay. All right, I think I'm gonna pause here and just see if there are a couple of questions, and then I'll hop over to VIP in just about 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, this is what you're gonna be. You're gonna be this mom. You're gonna be like J-Lo with your pom-poms. There you go. All right. Okay, I'm gonna pause here, and Stephanie, can you just share with them, before I take questions, how this will work and how they will have a coupon to save you guys. Are you ready? $700. She decided on this. She was like, let's do a $700 discount through Sunday. It's going to end tomorrow. We'll still have a discount for the holiday week, but the biggest discount is because you are here and you're learning. And tell them what to do, Stephanie.
So, excuse me. Today you are going to receive an email with a link. And if you click that link, and input your information, it'll email you the coupon code, and it'll take you to another page that will, give you a little bit more information on each of the programs, and you can sort of click on which one you think you might want to purchase. If you want to purchase the Dream College Academy, Or, if you want to make an appointment with Dr. Cologne because you're interested in having a more personal experience. So I've tried to make it as easy as possible in our system, but the $700 coupon code you will get right away. And like Dr. Cologne said, that's only through tomorrow night, but we will have another sale through the week. But this is the biggest discount we've given so far this year, just for everyone who came to the challenge this weekend. So, yes.
Which is why I think you had to sign in, right? They had to,
Yeah.
when they got here. Yes, this is not open to the public. The coupon code is not open to the public. That's why you have to sort of work a little bit for it. And then we'll open it up to everyone else starting on Monday with a smaller discount for just 5 days. Okay. I'll take a couple of questions here and then I will hop over to the VIP I'll be showing in the VIP, I'll show you some of Juliana's essays. I'll even show us, I'll show you Curtis's essays, and I can answer any more questions about the coolness factor. So to just take 1 or 2 questions here, if you have questions about the program or the pricing or any of that right now. You can just unmute yourself or type it into the chat. How can I be helpful?
I got a question.
Yep.
So the Dream College Academy is 1997, and then that includes the essay boot camp, but not the live version.
Correct.
Is that what I understood? What is the not live version? Like what is that compared to the live version? The live version is you work with someone for five days straight. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, so the difference is, so Connie, it's a good question. Thank you for bringing it up. So we have a curriculum that is the same prescribed curriculum for 5 days, right? We've team-proof, battle tested. We know exactly the 4-step formula. So in Dream College Academy, in its original form, meaning the 7 modules that I showed you, right?
Yeah.
1 module of the 7 was for essays. And so we gave you like half of day 1, what you would learn in class in a 5-day camp, right? What we decided to do is to put all of the lessons that we give in live in essay camp. We created a whole curriculum, and we recorded videos and we put them so that you can follow along. So it's an on-demand version of live essay camp.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I just wasn't sure. So then if you actually did the live version, that is the 1897.
That's the upgrade.
Additional. Okay, the upgrade. Got it. Thank you.
It ends up being, I mean, I can't remember the math, but a silver package for essay bootcamp, live essay bootcamp, a silver package is $28.97. So actually we sort of did the math that it's very negligible on the difference. Like you're getting a lot of bang for that by doing that upgrade. The gold package is 5,000 by itself. So there's some savings there as well. So when you bundle it, you're going to save, and it's going to feel like not a lot of difference.
Got it. Thank you.
Add to that, Connie. So essentially what I like to say is everything that we do with the private clients and everything we do with our essay campers is all in one place now. That's the Dream College Academy. It has the essay camp. It has all the modules on exactly what we go through with the private clients on how to prepare for the application process. The advantage to Essay Boot Camp, doing the live camp, is that you get feedback and you get that interaction with the coach every day to take you sort of step by step.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Mimi, your question is, can the coupon code be used for essay camp? The answer to that is no. It's a combination. I just explained that basically by upgrading to both, doing the Dream College Academy and then upgrading, it's basically nearly the same price. Now, let me explain why that is. Why do you have to buy them together if you want that price or if you want to save? As I mentioned earlier, we started with Essay Bootcamp, and we ran with it. And it worked for students who had already had the information that they needed, how to calculate your GPA, how to search for majors, how to make sure you're not applying to the same 5 majors that everybody else is. How do you do the resume section? How do you beef up your, what is your coolness factor? How do you do that? And all of the pieces, letters of recommendation, that's module 6. It's one of my such practical advice to get what you need from a teacher. So the two things work best if they go hand in hand. Okay, so that's why it's set up that way. And that's what we're running this weekend. But thank you for the question. Okay, was that helpful, Mimi?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, one more question here. Okay. There were a number of you that were in the VIP yesterday. The VIP I thought was a great discussion. There were great questions, and we get more into the nitty gritty of how you would even start to think about your coolness project. And I'll show you some essays from those kids that you met today. Oh God, I still call them kids. I hope that that's okay. But I have to tell you, if any of you want to look for Curtis's interview, I interviewed all of these kids are on my podcast. Curtis was a young senior in high school. I think he graduated from high school. By the time he graduated, he might have been 16. So if you were to see him in his interview, it's quite different. So, okay. All right, I don't see any more questions unless I'm wrong. So I'm going to pop out of here. Those of you who have the link, I'll meet you in the VIP. All right? Bye for now, guys.